What's up, everybody? I'm Terrell.
I'm Tierra Leanne.
And I'm Tawan.
And you're about to be
Rewired.
Today we're going to be talking about a topic that might be a little bit controversial, but I think it needs to be kind of hashed out. Today we're talking about interracial dating. And for those of you guys who don't know what that might mean, that's when you dating somebody that is outside of your own race. Personally speaking, I don't necessarily have a problem with interracial dating. I don't think you can choose who you fall in love with and who you develop feelings for. If that just happens to be somebody that's outside of your race, I don't have a problem with that at all. But I do think that there are more components to the interracial dating than what initially meets the eye. I think it's a lot of hidden agendas, a lot of misconceptions and stuff that might push you towards a certain race, but until we talk about them, then they gonna stay hidden. So that's what that's why I thought it was good we could talk about that today. But yeah, that's my general thoughts on the topic.
Well, for me, I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I feel like the only controversy that come out of this situation is when it's like, oh yeah, I'm a black person, I'm a black man. Let's be real. I'm a black man and I want to date a white woman. I want to date this white woman, but at the same time, I'm gonna tell people, oh, I'm dating her and I don't date black women. I feel like that's a problem. Like, we have to stop that in our community and in our within our race, period, because it doesn't look good. It really belittles the black woman because it starts to make the black woman look like she's not good enough to be with the black man. Now, if you want to date, outside your race and you want to date white women, do that. And you so happen to catch a vibe with one and this is your woman, your wife or whatever, that's fine. But I feel like where I have a problem at is when I hear people say, oh, well, yeah, you need to get you a white woman, black women this, black women that. Like, don't do that. Because we could, as black women, we could do that. But we are the ones that really have your back at the end of the day, or that really root for black love. So to hear black men say that stuff, like things like that, that's a smack in the face.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So my view on interracial dating has changed recently. The more I learn about people and the more I interact with people and the older I get and the more mature I get, I see the benefits in interracial dating. At first I was 100% against it, but now I'm not against it. I think it's definitely hard to find somebody that completely understands your worldview from another race, but if you are lucky enough to find that person, go right ahead.
I want to ask you a couple of questions real quick based on what you said. So
Okay.
let's just say, because I agree with most of what you said, but I do think that a lot of times women give themselves an out when a dude couldn't give that same out. Like, for instance, let's just say a dude that was muscular and had tattoos and had a beard, dogged you out, treated you bad, did not treat you like the queen that you are.
Right.
You don't think you're going to have some reservations the next time you meet a dude that got tattoos and a beard and, resembles the last dude that dogged you out? So I'll tell you this. The dude, I know a person that tried black women and it did not go well for him. And now based on that, I don't agree with the approach. But if we talking about how women operate versus how men operate, women get traumatized all the time and say, okay, I'm going to put you in a category and treat you as if you're the last person that treated me this way because you resemble or you remind me of that dude. So why is it not okay for a dude to do that with a black woman?
I disagree. I think that men do that way more than women. I don't know, maybe because I'm on a new wave of growth and I'm trying not to categorize everything and put it in one box based off experience. So I definitely feel you on that, because we do have to do that. Stop doing that. If you have one bad experience with a specific type of race or a specific type of person, quit penalizing the whole entire group of people. because you can't. That's not being realistic. So I think it comes with growth. You get what I'm saying? It comes with a lot of growth. But at the same time, I feel what you're saying. That you basically saying if a woman can say, oh, well, I prefer a six-figure type of man. So does that rule out and make all the men that doesn't make six figures feel like they're not worthy?
Right.
I feel you on that.
Face, like,
but at the same time, what my argument is not that. My argument is saying that it's one thing to have a preference. Mm-hmm. Okay, I like this type of person. Mm-hmm. I like my women fine and red bone. Okay, that's your preference. You get what I'm saying? Nobody can go against that. You got to respect that. But when it comes to you degrading the other half of the group, it's unacceptable. That's one thing that I feel like is totally unacceptable. Now it's one thing for now when it comes to black women, if she's saying, okay, yeah, I got a bad experience with Rashad with the muscles and the beard. Okay, cool, and he's black. But best believe that black woman is gonna go to the next black guy. She may not mess with a guy with a mustache, but you get what I'm saying? It's not just ruling out the whole. Well, you can rule out a whole entire group of people that look just like you. It's psychological.
Definitely. But I think what you said is key. I think that the main thing is you can't really judge a book by its cover. Like, you can't say that just because a person look a certain way that they gonna treat you this way or that way. The thing I guess I wanted to weigh in a little bit on is how does status play a part in interracial dating? I've seen a lot of the white people that I thought was really racist was more classist than racist. Yeah. Like, they don't mind talking to a person outside of their race that they feel like is on their level class-wise. Yeah. But we look at it as, oh, he don't mess with, Johnny up the street because he black. It may not be because he black. It may be because he
broke.
Broke, right. Black and broke.
On that same vein, talking about classes versus racist, I think that interracial dating definitely has a stronghold in classism just because I feel like a lot of, and I don't want to single out black men, I'll just say men in general, like our intrinsic makeup is to conquer and to accomplish things, and it seems like it's more of an accomplishment to get an exotic woman, somebody that's different than all the women that you got in middle school and high school and college. Now that I'm at this point in my life, then I'm qualified to get a different type of woman.
What's an exotic woman? Could you elaborate that?
Exotic woman for a lot of black men is a woman that don't look like them. Something that's foreign. Like, it's almost like driving a BMW or a Benz or a Maserati. It's like, why would I jump in? Why would I jump in this?
I'm a Ferrari though. Y'all do know that.
I know. I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about these other women out here. But I'm saying, why would you jump in the Chevy when you got the Maserati right here gassed up?
They say it's high maintenance.
Hey,
they say it's expensive.
I disagree.
You gotta pay the cost to be the boss.
I feel like exotic is just, it could be seen as a high. Yeah, it's a mindset. It could be a high maintenance woman, and that comes in all different shades.
And I'm not saying I subscribe to that way of thinking. I'm just saying that's things I've heard. Another thing I've heard is that black women don't know how to allow a man to lead. And I didn't say this now.
That was actually going to be my next thing, because, well, let's go back to that real quick, and then I'll go back to that. So the classist part, right? I talked to a couple of my friends who's in the upper echelon of society, and I was trying to understand this concept, not from a judgmental place, but just so I could be, I guess, the liaison between the people who understand and the people who don't understand, right? So what they told me is, if I'm rich and I'm doing well, I go to parties, social functions, work, everything I do is with people who I'm not intimidated by, who I can't, if I don't gotta watch my wallet and, you know what I'm saying, think they gonna try to be getting something from me. But the people in my circle is white. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't think white women is doing that?
No, I'm just saying that they were saying that they wasn't intentionally going out looking for white women, but the more status they got, the less black women was around them. So
Right.
it was less black women for them to choose from as a potential mate.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much saying that it wasn't necessarily intentional on his behalf. It was just once he got here, Quita and you know.
I don't believe that though. I think that dude was lying. Whoever told you that was lying, because where his mom and them stay at, there's probably some black folks.
I
And
believe
when we go
that.
visit his mom and his grandmama and them back at the crib, wherever he came from, back in the hood, he know where the black folks is
But
at.
he left them.
Yeah,
He
he
left
left
them
them.
behind. So that's why, how do you expect for them to be there if you're getting to these levels, black men, and y'all not taking Keisha and Quita with y'all? Of course, Becky and Kim are going to be there. You get me? Y'all leaving Keisha and them at home with y'all kids.
Bye, Keisha.
Hello?
Bye, Keisha. No, I'm
So they're not around.
No, I'm
I'll
joking.
be back
So-
on the weekend.
Nah, no.
Y'all
So,
feel like this is sad.
this is what I'm.
sad.
Oh, so that goes back to what we were saying about black women, and I think it's. Let's just make it a little bit more clean. The cultural aspects of interracial dating
Yeah.
is, I really feel, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I feel like most other cultures have been raised from childhood to adulthood to be a good companion.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm teaching you, because eventually this is the road that you're going to have to be good at.
Yeah.
In our community, it's less of let me teach you how to be a good companion and let me teach you how to get it on your own.
Be independent.
Be independent.
True.
But
Yeah.
that culture is completely counter of the culture that's conducive for a relationship. It's the same thing with men though. And in our community, it's something that we got to rewire, and I'm working on myself first.
Yeah.
The thought process, because the men, we ain't raised to be good husbands either.
Thank you.
We raised
Yeah.
to,
Thank you.
think
To
about it.
hustle, to
Yeah,
grind.
hustle,
Yeah.
hustle, grind. Get it how you live. Get it
Yeah.
out the mud.
Get in where you fit
And
in.
I think it's
Yeah.
not the tension between the male and the female as like African Americans. It's not even like have anything to do with us not liking each other, but it's more so of us not, like you said, being in those. We didn't come from us being taught how to teach each other or how to love each other or how to come together as one. Like you said, we were taught independence. The woman was taught how to kind of, be independent and don't depend on a man. They took the men out of the households and put them in the fields or the prisons, wherever they put them at. But the woman was left with the kids to raise them on their own. So they automatically, they come up with this attitude where it's like, okay, whoa, like you doing a little too much. But I feel like as the black men, sometimes y'all have to see the same struggle you have is the same struggle that the black woman had.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? The same pain that you done had from not growing up without a daddy, and the black woman done been through all that too. Like nobody was there to teach her how to, oh, this is how you be a wife, and this is how you cook, and this is how you clean, and this is how you submit. Nobody really teaches that, and if you are, then that's great, that's fine. But a lot of women wasn't. A lot of women are raised by strong black women that had to get it on their own. So
Right.
therefore, they're not coming. They don't have that attitude to treat you like how maybe a white woman may come at you and treat you, because they were taught different. You get what I'm saying?
So here's the solution that I see. We need to stop normalizing not allowing your man to lead, because it's a lot of things in place in our society that keep the man from thinking that it's okay to father children and not raise those kids and not be faithful. It's a lot of things built into our society, i.e. child support, i.e. spousal support, alimony. All those things are built in to show the man, like, hey, if you act irresponsibly, if you're not taking care of your responsibilities, if you're not taking care of your children and your wife, then these are the consequences. What's the consequence of a woman not respecting her man?
But I feel like that's not them setting that in place to penalize the man. Obviously, like any rule or any law of the world is set in place because it was broken.
Of course.
It was something that you wasn't, doing. So obviously we had to put this in place. It wasn't that, oh, we're just going to, off the rip, we want child support. Off the rip, we want alimony. Off the rip, we want these. Off the rip, we want these things because we gave you a chance to show that you can do this and you didn't do it. So now we have to put this in place.
I agree with that.
So I don't think I don't think that child support and all those things was invented to just make a man life a living hell. I don't think that.
I do. I think that child support don't turn a deadbeat dad into a father. Yeah, anybody can father a kid. And I've been to child support court with my suit on and my lawyer and everything, and was sitting there, and 90%. How far should I go back? Okay. 90% of the names that they called didn't show up. Yeah. So that shows you right there that just when you put somebody on papers, don't change them into a good dad. The people who's trying to pay their child support and trying to do what they supposed to do, they was gonna do that anyway. I think honestly the stuff that we deal with, and it's a combination of what both of y'all said, is let's go back to the dating part, and then I'll talk. Well, we can talk about the child support system, and then go back to the dating part. The parameters and stuff that kind of check the man, I think is really a way to keep us at odds with each other. A lot of the stuff that we don't really think about in our community, I think it was put there intentionally so that it can have the effect that it has had. Definitely. It's a liquor store on every corner in the black community for a reason. That's not happenstance. Same thing with why it's so readily available in the black community to get drugs and why we get a harsher sentence when we get go to jail. And the same thing with the child support system and everything. It was put in our community to keep us at odds with each other, because it's been proven that it don't help you with raising kids. This is what I think, though, back to the dating part. As a whole, we have to understand the dysfunction of the other party and be patient with the process of evolution into what you should be for the relationship. And the reason why I said patient is, let's just say I get with a girl tomorrow and I understand that she don't understand, or she haven't been raised to be a good companion like we was just talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm either going to be like, bruh, I can't do this. You don't know how to be a good girlfriend. Or I can communicate what I need for you to do. Be patient as you work on it. And hopefully one day you'll get there. Yeah. The issue comes in when the other party, it's always, well, not always, but in the relationships that don't work, it's typically one or both persons that's not willing to be patient as the other person evolves into the person that they need to be for the relationship. So the woman will say something like this: nah, bruh, you haven't been taught this stuff. You a grown man. I'm not finna teach you how to be no grown man. I'm not finna. You should, if you love me, you should, being monogamous to me should be easy. Why should my struggles be easy to come up out of? But I'm supposed to be patient as you evolve into the person.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, how it's understood by society what a man is supposed to do. What is a woman supposed to do? Like, what is the consequence for a woman not being what a woman is supposed to be? Because I just named 3 consequences for a man not taking care of his manly responsibilities. But that's why it's so up for debate, because a woman, a lot of times I feel like a woman is not held to the same standard.
No, I disagree. I feel like a woman does a lot. A woman does so much to the point where it's seen as just like second nature. A woman does a lot of things. So it's not just saying, I evolved and you're not evolving, so now it's over. It's like, no, I worked on this and you've worked on that, and we both know what we have to do. And it takes for a person to be accountable and really, acknowledge exactly what is going wrong. What is going wrong with the situation? It's one thing that's saying, okay, I'm working on this. I know I don't have a job. I know the kids need this and da-da-da-da-da, but I'm working. I'm applying for jobs. I'm doing da-da-da. But if you just coming off the rip like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? What do you expect? That's not showing that you know what you're supposed to do. So how is the woman supposed to hold on to that? You get what I'm saying? It's one thing to try, but it's another thing that if you're just not completely understanding what's going on.
A woman can go drop her kid off with her grandmama and nobody don't say nothing with her mama. Let the mama raise the kid. Nobody don't say nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let a dude run out on his kid. He on child support. He a deadbeat. He a dog. He this. He that. Like
the consequences for a woman slacking and not doing what she's supposed to be doing as a woman. For one, it speaks in itself because it's a difference. That's why you see women that are on top of their game. You see women that are constantly evolving. You see women that are taking care of their business, and you see women that are depending on the system or depending on men or depending on people. So that's a difference.
I think it used to be reputation. Like, it used to be a situation where you could call a woman a hoe, and it's like, oh, please don't call me that.
Yeah.
You can call a woman a hoe now. She be like, yeah, I'm the best hoe you know. Yeah. Like, nah, that ain't cool.
It's not. I'm not saying it's cool.
That ain't cool to be a hoe. It's not cool.
Okay, well, we're talking about interracial dating. I don't know what.
No, I'm just saying, whenever a woman is doing something wrong, that society embraces that shit. You know
I don't think so.
If a man do something wrong, he crucified for the shit.
That's just like when a woman is being abused by men. A woman is suppressing her feelings and suppressing everything that she has going on to protect that person, or to feel like, okay, well, I don't want to come out and say these things because I'm ashamed of what people may think of me. So it can go both ways with things. I feel like women are not always just excluded when it comes to having to be penalized or getting backlash for things, because they do. They do.
I got a couple of suggestions when it comes to the solution. For one thing, ask yourself, would you like hanging out with you if you was not you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
or ask yourself, would you be in a relationship with you if you was you? You know what I'm saying?
Are you a pleasant person to be around or no? Because honestly speaking, and I'm not trying to overgeneralize, but think about this. Let's just say I come home to a black woman and I say, baby, I fucked up. I did this, I did that, I did this.
Yeah.
Think about the response versus if you was any other race. The likelihood of that shit going left, turning into a domestic dispute, you get a skillet upside your head or some hot grits or something, that's going to be way higher with the black woman. And it's not your fault. I think that most people, whether you black, white, yellow, or whatever, your response to your experiences come from your past experiences and what you've been through to that point. Yeah, so if you've been through a lot, that ain't your fault. But what you do with that is what's up to you. So one thing you could do is question the people who raised you. Like if your mama, let's just say, like you said, you had a single family home and everything. Your dad wasn't in your life just like our dads wasn't in our life, or whatever the case may be. But what you doing is you being raised by a single woman. Yeah. She raising you to be a single woman. Mm-hmm. So if she knew how to maintain a relationship, she probably wouldn't be a single woman. So I just think sometimes you got, I'm not saying everybody is in that situation. Right. I'm just saying that sometimes you can only do better when you know better. And if you don't know better for yourself, how can you know better for somebody else? How can you show your kid how to be a good companion if you're not a good companion? Right. You came from a long line of bad companions. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my thoughts is this: at some point we gotta question the validity of the sources. Like, if somebody that was fat told me how to lose weight, I'd be like, I'm not listening to you, bro. Right. You don't know how to do it, apparently.
But my question is this: it's one thing, like what you said with women. Maybe women. It's true. Maybe some black women are taught the wrong way how to maneuver and how to operate in a relationship or a marriage, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So when and who is teaching the black man to be a black man? Regardless if it's, or are you guys following each other?
That goes back to what I said.
Are you guys, so you gotta look at it from both ends. So if a woman, because I got a homegirl, I just talked to her last night, matter of fact. She was telling me she want to date white men. She don't want to date black men. And we laughed, and I'm like, okay, you know, that's your preference.
Mhm.
But I wanted to ask her, like, what, you know, why? And she said because she feel like a lot of black men, you have to raise them. As black women, we have to raise black men how to be, we have to show them how to treat us, because y'all wasn't taught, like black men, a lot of black men weren't taught, or they wasn't shown, or they wasn't in household with a man and a woman. They didn't learn how a man is, you know, how to treat a woman or court a woman. They wasn't taught that. So what she was saying was, okay, I'd rather deal with a white guy because I feel like a white guy knows how to do that. You know, they know how to treat me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's your preference. Either way you put it, I still rock with black men, you know, but
I bet I know what friends said.
That's a point too. Like, it's a lot saying, okay, well, I'm dealing with this. It's a lot coming from a black woman trying to
raise a black man.
Yes,
let me
but because it's like you're looking at it like, oh, here you go with the attitude, da 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 da. Would you rather be with a person, you come to them, you tell them your problems, and they tell you exactly how they feel about a situation, or would you rather come home to a person, you tell them about your problems, and they just like, okay, well, all right, fine. How are you ever growing from that situation?
Well,
you get me?
To me, like the question that you ask is that why does a black woman feel like she got to raise a black man in a relationship? Number one.
And who raises the black man? Who teaches
like
the black man?
The black man is taught through society that he got to have his shit together. Because if you drive around without riding dirty, you're going to get pulled over, you're going to jail. If you don't take care of your kids, you're going to get put on child support, and it's going to be something astronomical, way more than what's fair. If you leave your wife, you got alimony. So that's what I'm saying about the consequences that's built into society to make a man be a man. It's nothing built into society to make a woman be a woman.
But you just said this. You just said a black man is being raised by society. And you said a black woman is not letting a black man lead. Would you follow somebody that's following society? Or would you follow somebody that's following who he is as a person?
Well, I mean, that comes into your selection
that's
process.
Tricky. Like, I don't know if I can follow a man that's just following society.
Well, I don't think that's what he's saying. I was thinking this. And I understand
I'm not saying following society either. All I'm saying is, if you have messed up along the way and you misguided and don't really understand certain things about being a man, that's not going to last but a couple of years. Your ass is going to go to jail a couple of times, you're going to get way in debt, then you're going to figure that shit out. That's what I'm saying.
So I think what he's saying is, for a black man, society is set up to where it's survival of the fittest. If you one of them deadbeat dudes that just can't get it, or just can't get around to understanding what your responsibilities is and what they ain't, it's a place for you. And you're going to end up there quicker than the other race and quicker than the other gender. What I would say, and what I would have said to that lady who said to you she don't feel like raising her mate, when you take on, we just said that we both come into a romantic situation with dysfunction. So her dysfunction is cool. But it's not okay for me to have dysfunction. She don't want to have to raise me, but she's
going to have to raise her too.
That's what I'm saying. So why is it okay? The white man don't like your ass neither. You gonna come to him, he gonna think you look good and stuff at first, but then when he start feeling like you was feeling like, damn, I'm having to raise her. I'm having to teach her about tone. I'm having to teach her about that's not appropriate to challenge me like that in front of all my friends. We can talk about that behind closed doors, but the opposite race already know that stuff. That's what I'm saying, is when a black woman says, I don't want to have to raise my mate, then your counter should be, who gonna raise you? Because you got just as much dysfunction. I think the real issue is we put a hierarchy on the things that's important in a relationship. Monogamy being number one to a woman. So when monogamy is the thing that you struggle with, that outweighs the stuff that you struggle with. But my list can be one thing, monogamy. Your list can be 30 things. You bad at money management. You don't know how to talk to nobody. You don't know how to respect nobody. You ain't supportive. You ain't even nice to be around. Your list is 20 things long. But because my thing is one thing long and it's monogamy, you gotta raise me. You gotta teach me how to be a man. No, it ain't that. It's
I don't think
nobody
it's
is.
monogamy,
I don't think. Well,
I don't think it's monogamy.
Let me circle back to interracial dating real quick because I wanted to tell y'all how my opinion has changed. So when I was young, I would see interracial relationships and just look at it like it was wrong. Like, why are y'all doing this? There's no way that you understand him and that he understands you. But the more I live, the more I see the benefits of it. Just like what you and Miss Tierra was disagreeing about. I feel like a lot of the things that we're good at as a race, and we're going to continue to be good at those things until we're introduced into some things that other people are good at. So when two people that's from totally different worlds get together, it's almost like
the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds, opposites attract, where you weak, I'm strong type thing.
Yeah.
Just like in the NBA, if you look in the NBA, it ain't nothing but mixed dudes in the NBA. Because they probably had a white mama who was very analytical, you know what I'm saying, and smart and able to problem solve. And they probably had a black daddy who was super athletic. He could dunk when he was 12 years old. So, thus, the NBA player. But if it was the same race against the same race, then we would be dealing with the same things. That's one thing. The survival of the fittest thing that you were saying. I think the dominant genes are going to prevail. Like if me and Tierra had a baby, then our baby would have the best genes from me and the best genes from her. So that's one thing. I hope. Yeah, they might get the leftovers. But the idea is that the dominant and best genes will prevail in the next generation. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing was the fact that I feel like the mixed population understands racism in a way that black people can't and that white people can't. Yeah. So the best way, I feel like the most viable way to combat racism is for everybody to be
one race.
Yeah, or members of more than one race.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even everybody that's sitting here, everybody that's in this room, if you trace your lineage long enough back, you cut with something. You know what I'm saying? So how could you authentically be racist against a part of yourself?
Yeah.
True that. I never really thought about it from an inclusion place. But I think that we gradually working towards the solution. So the inclusion is definitely a huge part. What I was working my way around to is being each other's support system as opposed to being
at
odds all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you love me and I love you, it don't matter what race we are, what we look like, you should be able to take me with my faults and the things that I'm good at, and vice versa. But if you think that my faults are because of my race and you gonna go to another race, then that ain't helping me or you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that, you know.
And if you think that my faults is deal breakers and everything that's wrong with you is cool, then that's starting off on an unlevel playing field.
Definitely. So, you know, long story short, man, we definitely just gotta love each other.
Yes,
we
and
gotta
definitely stick together. And like you said, the support is everything. I feel like that's the #1 reason why people kind of often switch sides anyway, because they're feeling the lack of support, the lack of love, and the lack of just understanding. And that's everything. If you don't have that understanding with your partner, like you said, regardless of what color they are, you're gonna always be at odds. And if you're struggling with finding who you are as a person, you're gonna always be at odds. It's different things that's gonna always keep you at odds, regardless of whatever your preference is. So it's rooted problems. This goes all the way down to generations and generations and generations.
All right, y'all. This has been a spirited conversation about interracial relationships. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we are Rewired Podcast 2020 on YouTube, Rewired Podcast _ on Instagram. I'm King Tep 87 on Instagram.
I'm Tierra Leanne on Instagram.
I'm Tep Sauce 37 on Instagram.
And you have been
Rewired.